Have you thought about starting some seeds indoors to grow some veggies indoors during the winter? So here's what I'm thinking. It's the last day before New Year's Eve, and what a perfect time to think about growing some veggies. I can't wait to get started. I'm sure many of you are in the same boat. Can't wait to get started with your seeds, but we are at least 4.5 months till planting anything outside. Mid-April or so, if the ground is defrosted and I can get some early spring veggies. In the meantime though, I'm pretty excited to get growing, and since I have some grow lights, I thought I'd start some seeds. But today's post specifically is about a product that I had written about in my last blog post, 10 last minute Christmas gifts for gardeners. So I purchased the SunBlaster Micro Garden. It's this like portable tabletop system all in one. I have a black one and a white one on my post, and I actually purchased the black one. So it's got like the light strip, it's got 4 little pots, it's got a self-watering reservoir, so you fill it and it actually waters the plants for you. Like, it's awesome. So I thought, rather than growing some veggies under the grow lights, and I can because I do have the grow lights going, I thought it would be so much more interesting and fun to have something on my tabletop or on my countertop in the kitchen that would grow something like micro tomatoes, lettuce, thyme, and my favorite herbs. Something that's so easily accessible that all you need to do is just reach over, snip, and have them on hand instead of heading downstairs, heading to the grow lights, seeing what I have. It's like always in my face, and it'd be very motivating and inspiring, and it would really uplift the spirit during winter, because we are in winter now. Right now outside it's white and frozen, so this is just, I thought it'd be really fun. Anyway, so I'm gonna show you my what it looks like. I'm gonna tell you about what I'm thinking to plant, and I'm gonna show you how to plant using this little system if you did want to consider getting one. I do have an affiliate link in that post, so if you do purchase, I do make a very tiny commission, but I really just think that it would be fun to have something like this, so I thought I would get my own and show you how it works so that you can see if it would be interesting for you, and we can kind of go through it together and grow together. So I'm gonna flip the camera and I'm gonna show you what this looks like, and then we're gonna go from there, and I'm gonna show you what I'm planting and how to plant in it. Okay. So here's the little garden system. It's the SunBlaster Micro Garden, and you can see here that it's not very big. It doesn't take up a lot of space. And then it's got these posts that run all the way up to here on both sides. And this is actually the top where the light would be, and the light adjusts. If you turn this little knob on both sides, you can adjust it as tall as you want as the plants grow. So really it would support a plant that, like a tomato, that would grow up to 12 inches tall with no problem. And to turn it on, I just want to show you, all you do is you take a little switch and the light turns on. The light down there is right here. It's an LED light. Actually, this one, I don't believe. They do have an LED, and I believe I posted the LED, but this is a fluorescent, I believe, but it's a special grow light. And that's it. All you do. Now, isn't that cute? They do have a white one, and had I known, I probably would have purchased the white one, because then it would just blend into my white kitchen. But it's really lovely in black too, depending on the color of your kitchen. So they have both colors. So okay, so that's the light. It comes with these 4 little trays. These seed trays are fantastic. I have these, and they're extremely sturdy. They're made in the UK. I have them in green. These do not crack, they don't break, and they don't leak. So these will last you for years. So although they are plastic, you don't have to worry about throwing them in the garbage, because they will last you for a really, really long time. And they stack really easily. They're just really nice little trays. I actually have a bunch of these, and I just think they're fantastic. I've already filled one here. Now, the little seed trays stand on a wicking mat. The wicking mat goes all along the bottom and runs down the side. And down the side, this whole section here is reservoir. So this looks like to be about 2.5, 3 inches tall. And the trays themselves, here's the wicking mat, stand on a suspension. So you fill it with water. Now, I have never used the system, so I assume once a week, which wouldn't that be nice? You don't have to think about it too often. The water would then come up the side, and I have used wicking mats for watering under my grow lights, and they work fantastic. The water comes up, absorbs into this rug, this little carpet, and comes up through the drainage holes. Really, really easy. Now I'm gonna post a link for this item in the description below so you can find it easily. It's to my Amazon shop, and I also will post a link to that blog post that I wrote with the 10 last minute gifts. They're all really fun, but this one specifically I wanted to discuss today. I also thought that if I want to grow tomato, a container tomato would easily grow in this little square pot. You can use a round pot as well. And I just want to show you how perfectly it fits under the grow light. Look at that. Easily can grow a tomato in there. Maybe put some lettuce, put some different herbs. You can put thyme, and you can put, if you like thyme, you can grow thyme in here, you can grow sage in here. Oregano would grow really well under here. You can do some a flower if you wanted to. Imagine seeing a flower like a nasturtium, a small something. A violet can grow here, viola, or you can grow, you know, arugula or spinach or anything really. Anything can grow in here. Chives can grow in here, and you have an access to immediate veggies at any time at your fingertips in the kitchen. It couldn't be more perfect. Before we get started, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell to be notified of any upcoming videos. As well, if you like this video at the end, please be sure to click the like button so I know that you liked it. Okay, let's get started. Here's a pot that I already filled. This one's done. I haven't watered it yet. I will before I plant the seeds, but this is what it looks like when it's done. So what I'll do is I'll water it like so. Let me do that now. So after I've done this, I water it and I just let it sit. If you have a little tray or somewhere to place your watered seedlings, like a little, I don't know, a little, like a tray or some kind of little bowl or something that you could put it on, set it aside. Now I'm going to show you what I do when I fill it. So here's a new one. And I like to keep flyers. This is a really old flyer. So I keep my flyers, and rather than putting them in recycling, I like to use the newspaper aspect of it to line my pots. And I do this for this type of pot as well as round pots, square pots, any large pot. I like to do that because it keeps the soil from falling out of these holes when you're watering it. And I'd like to keep that mat as clean as possible. Now, eventually that paper breaks down because it is compostable, but by that point, the roots have already established themselves in here and they're holding the soil. So what I do is, this one I just had some square ones that I cut, so I put them down like so. Just overlap them, and now it's ready. So I'm going to take some soil and I just kind of shake it in, and I just kind of tap it on the sides, and it's even. If you're not sure, you just take another tray, put it down in its place, and now it's ready. So then what you do is you would water it. And now I'm just going to let it soak. So I've decided that I'm going to, because I want to grow a tomato under there, and rather than transplanting it from one of these into one of these, I'm going to set it up right now to grow into one of these. And of course I'm going to use my little paper. I'm going to line the bottom of the pot. That's pretty good because those are pretty big holes here. And if I don't do that, the soil will definitely fall out for sure when I water, and I don't want to make a big mess of that tray, sort of the wicking mat. And in general, I prefer to do it this way every time. It just keeps everything neat and tidy and holds everything in place. Okay, now I'm going to fill it. Again, tap the side. Gets everything kind of sorted and even. And I'm going to take my watering can and just water it. Just water it a bit. Now you could, if you wanted to, you could water it from below if you had it in a sink, which I like to do. I like to water all my seedlings from below. But when I get started, this way works as well. So it depends on your time, but this will work. I just like to moisten the soil because I don't want that seed to get lost. I'd rather it go into a somewhat damp environment. So, and that's what you do. I just want to mention that if you do like these watering tops, they're fantastic. They're really, really inexpensive. They cost a few dollars. They come in a pack of like 3 or 4, and you can see the tiny Can you see the tiny holes? They make a really nice fine sprinkle so they don't saturate the seed bed. They give it just enough. So I'm going to put the link again in my description below so you can find these in my Amazon shop. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking to plant. First of all, tomatoes. Okay, I have two varieties of tomatoes that are micro tomatoes. One is smaller than the other. So the first one, I grew it last summer, and the seeds are available through Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. I'll put a link down below, and I'm not affiliated with them. This is called Orange Hat. So Orange Hat produces these, as you can see, small orange cherry tomatoes. They're really tiny. The plant itself only grows to a maximum of 6 to 9 inches tall, which is really, really small. And in my garden, what I found was it became like really bushy and compact. The leaves were low, but it was abundant with tomatoes. So while I still had them under my grow lights, these were already starting to make tomatoes. Before I even transplanted it out to the garden, they were producing that quickly. Now, it doesn't say here how many days till maturity. It doesn't, but you'll find that if you plant this variety, Tomato Orange Hat, that they actually they mature very quickly, and you end up picking tomatoes very, very quickly. Now in the garden, they like to split. So I think that under the grow light, it might be fun to grow inside because I'm not gonna be overwatering them, so they won't be splitting. Splitting happens in a tomato when they're overwatered, and then the cells fill with water. The skin isn't stretchy to account for that excess moisture in the tomato. And so what happens, the skin will split. Once your tomato splits, your tomato will rot. So I'm not gonna worry about that inside, and outside, you know, I don't have to plant these again necessarily. In a container, that'd be perfect, but perfect for under the grow lights. The other option I have is this one. This one's called Tiny Tim, and this one too is a small micro tom, and it's only grows to about, let me see here, 15 inches tall. So if I plant this one, 15 inches is over a foot, and under the grow light, it may be pushing it. So I think I'm gonna plant the Orange Hat. I'm gonna plant this one. That'll be my tomato. Now, that'll be the one pot, and I'm gonna put that in the square. Then I'm gonna put one container of arugula. Arugula is a very quick maturing green. It's kind of spicy if you've never tried it before. It's nutty. It's a nutty spicy. Now it's spicy when you grow it in the garden, and the sun and the heat of summer will increase its spice level. When you're growing it in the cooler part of the season, it won't be as spicy. So I don't expect this to be spicy growing under the grow light. So I'm definitely gonna do a container of this. It grows quickly. You can harvest individual leaves. This will be really fun. And then I'm gonna plant a container of this lettuce. It's called red salad bowl, so it's a leaf lettuce, very easy to harvest leaf by leaf. So this will grow under there, and I really like the colors. They're kind of like purpley and green as well, really lovely. And I don't expect to have like huge harvests of lettuce, but I think it'll be fun, even if I did a mix of arugula and lettuce, or just, you know, add it to a sandwich. It'll be fun to have this under the grow light and available at my fingertips. And finally, I'm gonna take the last container and I'm gonna do a half and half. Half with this oregano and half with thyme. Have you ever grown herbs from seed? They are very, very easy to grow from seed. You can actually start them in January or February if you'd like, to grow in your kitchen window. So you don't even need to have a grow light system to do this. You could just literally put it in the window, and they will mature, and you'll be harvesting in March. So if you start them in January, by the end of February, you'll be harvesting herbs. So these are extremely easy to grow, not enormous plants initially, so they'll be perfect to grow under that grow light. So I'm thinking I could either do a solid single tray with one of these, but I think instead I'm gonna do two, split it in half, and then that'll be fun. It'll be nice and thick and compact. And then if it gets to be too tight, then I can always pot it up into a bigger container and then put them in the window, because they'll grow there too, and then use that spot for something else. So we're planting Tomato Orange Hat first. This will be the first one that we do, and it's gonna go in this square container here. Now, I'm gonna use my dibber to make the holes. You could use your finger, but I find it messy, plus I just watered it. If you don't have a dibber, you can use a pencil or a marker or anything that works, a highlighter. I like these, and I will post a link again in the description below, but all you do is you take your little dibber, and I'm gonna make 3 holes, because I don't know if they're viable. I believe they are, but I also want to select for the strongest seedling. So the one that looks the healthiest, looks the strongest, the one that grows the quickest, has the nicest uniform leaf shape, that's the one I want to grow. So I'm just going to put 3 little seeds in here. Okay. See how tiny the seeds are? Do you know how deep to plant tomato seeds? I'll tell you. So the tomato seed is like, I don't even know how many millimeters small. So in order to know the depth, it doesn't have to be deep at all. You can either do like 1/4 of an inch deep, but the best way to do it is 3 times. The depth would be 3 times the size of the seed, and that works for any of the seeds. I think I made this a little bit too deep, so I'm just gonna fix the holes by making them slightly more shallow, because they really don't need to be that deep. I'm gonna take 3 little seeds, and I'm just gonna pop them into those holes. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, these go back. So that's that one. The lighting's a bit bright, isn't it? Okay, that's that one. Now all you need to do is just close those holes, and it's done. Now what I do, if you have a fungus gnat problem in your gardening space, you could add a little bit of grit. This is actually chicken grit, but horticultural sand would work as well. I'm just gonna top it to prevent fungus gnats from laying eggs on the soil. It's not necessary if you don't have this. You can also use vermiculite. Okay, and that's done. I will label this one after, because I can label it if I want to, but if I don't want to, that's fine too. But I think I will, so I know from these ones which is which. Okay, now I'm going to do the herbs. Okay, starting with thyme. This is from Renee's Garden Seeds. I love this company. They always have super germination if you've never ordered from them before. Really nice seeds. Seeds are tiny, so I'm not gonna make any holes. They literally look like grains of salt. See how tiny they are? Just the tiniest little things. So what I'm gonna do is, since I only want half, I'm just gonna mark the space so I know where it is. And I'm just going to sprinkle all over the surface, not too thickly, and that should be fine. And the rest I'm gonna put back in the packet. Okay, so that was the thyme. I don't want to forget that, which side is which. And then on the other side, we're doing oregano. These are also really tiny seeds. Actually, they're even tinier than the last one. Look at the size of oregano seeds. They're the tiniest little things. Okay, so this also just a thin little overall layer. Don't be afraid to just like cover the soil. They will come up when they're ready. Okay, I put all those down. And wherever they fell, they're fine. You can always, when you're starting seeds as well, you can always just thin out later. You can also transplant out when they have a couple of leaves to make it easy. And that's ready. So I'm gonna leave it like this on the side, and I'll get back to it to label them when I have my packets laid out, just so. Now, let's do lettuce on this one. I'll show you how I sow lettuce, because lettuce is a cut and come again type of harvest. I'm not gonna be growing for heads of lettuce. I'm growing for individual leaves. So you can sow lettuce fairly thickly. They're gonna come up thick like a carpet, and you'll harvest leaves as you need them. So lettuce seeds are a lot. So as you noticed, I just want to mention one more thing. With the herbs, I didn't cover the soil with the herbs. I didn't cover that soil because it's so fine. Typically, seeds like that need light in order to germinate. So I'm not going to cover the soil. If you're not sure if the seeds have adhered to the soil or anything like that, you could put some vermiculite down and that will be enough and it will go through. So whenever you have a seed packet that tells you needs light to germinate, you could either leave it as is, just put the seeds on the soil surface, or you could cover the soil with a layer of vermiculite, and that is a very light medium. Light gets through it, the seeds will come up, and the vermiculite will act as a base on the soil surface, and it will also protect the soil from fungus gnats because they can't lay their eggs if they can't get through to the soil. So here are the lettuce seeds. It is a bright spot, isn't it? Sorry for that. I have a light just above me. Okay, so what I'm going to take is, I'm just going to take, again, lettuce, you don't need to cover, but I will put down a layer of that grit and that'll be my covering. So I'm just going to thickly sprinkle. I like to sow them fairly thickly. Okay, I do the same thing if I'm sowing them directly in the garden and I want to cut and come again style of harvest, then I just like to sow them thickly. If I'm looking to grow heads, then what I do is I start seeds in a tray like this and then I prick them out and I make individual plants. But you can see that, maybe difficult to see how I sowed it. That's the lettuce, okay, and I'm going to set that aside. What I'll do is I will actually top this with vermiculite. Here's the vermiculite. It's a really light substrate, so it's all natural. I really like to add it to my seed starting mix because I find that it just increases aeration, makes the soil lighter, improves drainage. There. See how that looks? You can do a thick layer too, not to be afraid, and that will protect the soil from, I find it actually protects it just even from like moss growing because there's peat moss in this seed starting mix. Okay. And there we are, that's the lettuce. And I'm gonna do one more. The last one I'm doing is arugula. I've already prepared the tray, it's ready and it's also been watered. So just going to do the same thing like I did with the lettuce. Just put it in your hand. Just pour some in your hand. Like that, okay? And then just sprinkle it over the soil. I would show you what it looks like when I'm done, but I think that you would have a really hard time seeing it. It's like basically almost the color. I'm gonna put a little bit more in my hand. It's almost the color of the soil. It's so, look at that color there. Okay, this will be enough now. And we just love arugula. So, going to cover the soil with that vermiculite I showed you earlier. Just tapping it all over the surface. Oopsie. Okay, that's plenty. That's it. Now, I've labeled it. As you can see, I'm gonna put the label in like that, and they're all done. Isn't this cute? So that's what it's gonna look like in my kitchen. And I'll show you at the end, I'll just post a picture of what it looks like. But that's how you do it. I'm really, really excited to see what will happen. Everything is labeled, everything's set up. I'm gonna fill this, the water reservoir upstairs in my kitchen, and then set this up so it's ready to grow, and then it'll just stand there and it'll grow, and in a tiny little space like this, you could easily grow some veggies fresh indoors as well. If you don't have a garden and you have a condo or an apartment with no balcony, you know, hardly any windows, you could easily grow some fresh veggies, herbs, lettuces, even a micro tomato, even a chili actually, you put hot pepper under the grow lights and have fresh veggies indoors. So thanks so much for watching, and thanks so much for sticking with me till the end. If you do currently grow and using a garden like this, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave me a comment below, and I'll be seeing you all very soon. I have more videos planned, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Thanks so much. Bye for now, and Happy New Year.